Healthy boundaries are not about psychoanalyzing other people or sending dramatic essays or messages to them. This is unfortunately the social media boundaries culture, and I would say, all this type of language of superiority, of punishment, of cutting people off, going into isolation because I am healing and I am better than anyone else. A lot of that is very unnecessary. So I want to bring some balance into the conversation about the boundaries, and I'm going to show you actually how to do the boundaries in a practical, specific way. I'm going to give you a practical, not example, I'm going to give you a practice so you can actually do that in your life, and then you're going to straight away feel the relief when you're going to actually do it, because you're going to be able to see where you actually are. So if you're struggling with boundaries, this is a video for you, when I'm gonna just show you that boundaries can be very simple. Let's simplify something that this culture is actually complicizing, or make it way too, I don't know the word like that exists in English, but there it is. It's way too complex, okay? So practical exercise, okay? Let's start straight away. I'm not going to be giving you like any lecture about what the boundaries are and all that. We all know, yeah? So there's no point in lecturing. Let's just bring it back to the practical bit straight away. So on a piece of paper, write names of people in your life. Family members, friends, acquaintances, people in your life that just are there, yeah? And I want you to think about that you are like, in the center of these relationships, because, the boundaries are for you. They're not for anyone else. The boundaries are for you. So put yourself in the middle, and then you see those names, and then start putting those names closer if that relationship that you have with that person is closer. Or, if it is a bit more peripheral, just put it a bit, a bit further. So place those people in like different, I would say, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, doesn't have to be perfect at all, unless you like to be very nice and neat. But just put those people in different distance towards you, yeah? And think about, again, casual relationships, closer relationships, acquaintances, job, friendship, childhood friend, all that. And then look at the names, and then you see the closeness, and then think about, okay, are my needs met in those relationships? And then you have to really like study, and then you can put like, if they are met, you can just put a tick, like, yeah, this is, or like, circle, put like a little heart, whatever it is. Again, this is your exercise, so you do, I would say the creative stuff. I'm just giving you the practical bit. Think about, so again, are my needs being met or not? If they like half met and you're just like not sure, just put whatever. Again, it's like you can put like a little minus, or like not sure, question mark, whatever that is. So that is fine. So we're not making it about other people being wrong or bad, that they are not able to meet their needs, because this is their capacity. And it's like you are in the center, so then you're adjusting, yeah? Then you think about, okay, when I'm actually, meeting these people, so when I'm seeing, I don't know, John or, Jordan, Gordon, whoever, Susan, how do you feel? Do you feel like really relaxed? Do you feel maybe drained? Or maybe you feel like unsure? Maybe you feel like sometimes a bit confused about what are they on about? All this, again, is information. So you can see, okay, my needs, are they met or not? And then you can see, how do I feel when I meet them? All that, again, you are treating all this as an information. You're not supposed to be then complaining about these people. No, we're not making any judgment about other people's nervous system capacity to meet your needs, because people are not there to serve only your needs. And it's up to you to find the people who will actually meet your need, and those, but again, that's the healthy boundaries, yes? So the core concept of this, now that you know where you are, you know you're like your inner circle and outer circle, you know which people are meeting your needs, how do you feel around them and all that, you think about, okay, do I have to adjust access or adjust my behavior in relationship with these people? And if so, how? So, no lectures, no lecturing other people, no explaining, no justification, no psychological or therapeutic language directed at other people. No. Behavioral change, adjusting the access, adjusting the distance. Maybe you want less distance, maybe you want to be closer to someone. Adjust your behavior. Do you want the person to maybe be a bit far off? Adjust your behavior. So it's all about you adjusting your behavior. And then if a person, let's say, I don't know, ask or something, if a person is actually specific and come back to you, let's say asking, listen, I just noticed that you don't want to see me as often, or we didn't see, is there anything, is there something off? It's like, then obviously you can have a conversation. Then you have an adult, mature conversation, but your behavior has to go first. That's it. Your behavior leads. And then you see how people respond to that behavior. So you're literally, the healthy boundary is you adjusting people's access to you. So if someone is not meeting your needs, that does not make them a bad person. That just makes them a person who is unable to meet your needs. That's it. There's nothing personal about that. So then you adjust your behavior. So you're limiting the access. And then on the other hand, if someone is meeting your needs and you feel really good around them, bringing them closer. That's it. So there's no dramatic cut-offs. It's just a very a mature adult standpoint. No drama. Because boundaries are, it's almost like it shows self-respect, but also it's showing respect to other people. And I think a lot of that, kind of superiority, punishment, cutting off, psycho-analyzing language, oh, they this and then they're that is not actually respectful, and that is not mature. Let's be mature about the boundaries. Just because that someone does not have the capacity to meet our needs, does that make them bad in any shape or form? No, they're just different. That's it. They're just literally different than you are, and your job is to find the people who are similar to you or on a similar level, whatever that is. That is your job as an adult, which does not make people, and of course, here I'm not talking about abusive, physically abusive situations. That is a completely different ballgame. But we're talking about just, meeting and not meeting needs. That's it. So it's, it's not hardcore, trauma stuff. That is a completely different frame. And then you just actually really need to, if someone is actually abusive to you physically, you gotta cut them off. Yes, this is that's lack of respect that is being shown towards you as a human being. So you're leaving that relationship. That's it. So yeah, I trust that was helpful, and I trust that was simple enough so you can literally just think about your relationships and change your behavior, limit the access, or change the access, and if you want some people to be closer to you, and that's it. So it's very simple. If you want some help with that around the boundaries, around what is actually even a healthy relationship, how healthy relationships look like, and I know that for some of you it is a struggle, and it was a struggle for me when I was healing. It was kind of confusing. I was sometimes. I remember that, a lot of the times, let's say, the honesty from other people could feel very threatening. And for a lot of people, who are on the healing journey, honesty can be really almost like a threat. But, so yeah, again, but that's that's an example. For you, the threat could be something completely different, intimacy and stuff like that. So let's say maybe being vulnerable in a relationship, but that's, again, that is another thing. If you need help with that, you've got the links down below. You can book a session with me. I've got some spaces available. And also share, and subscribe to this channel if it is benefiting you. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.